So, honors literature. This is presentation of the words for Vocab One, and I tried to do this yesterday, but I went over 15 minutes, and so I had to redo. Well, didn't have time to redo last night, so Saturday morning. Anyway, I'll explain how you fill in this paper. Certainly, writing in the words on 1 through 20, just practicing writing that words. And if you would practice your cursive in there, that would be a great place because it's that portion won't be graded. So if I can't exactly read a word or something like that, I'm sure your penmanship is better than mine. And so I'm just saying that's a good place to practice if you're not confident in your cursive. I begin grading this on completing the sentence, and I end with choosing the right word, number 20. So that's how I get the 78 points. I will tell you that even though it's vocabulary, I also count spelling. So if your word is spelled wrong, it is wrong. All right. All right. So let's start with admonish. And what I just did right there in telling you that if it's spelled wrong, it is wrong. That was a little bit of a admonishment. I changed admonish into a noun by adding the ment. If I admonish you, a verb, I mean not a gentle, that gentle uh, reminder uh, that you shouldn't, or that you should make sure to spell things correctly. Be conscientious with that. Get reflection off my glasses. So I think it's the light behind me. The next word, if I hold it far enough back, is breach. Breach can be a noun or a verb. And I can't tell you how many word lists I've seen this word on. One syllable, it would seem like an easy word. I think it's put on so many lists because of the fact that uh, it's used in so many ways. It could be used as a noun or a verb, but it numerous ways in those two parts of speech. From a breach of contract to a whale breaching the surface of the ocean. All right. Essentially, it means a break. All right. So you imagine the whale come up and it breaches the ocean surface. Okay, comes out. All right. Um, and then a break of contract or a breach of contract. Somebody doesn't follow one of the rules of the contract, and so it is broken. If the line of communication is breached, it's broken. All right. Brigand, and brigand is a noun, a person noun, distinguished from an object noun. All right. And I'm going to use Jack Sparrow as my example for that because I'm going to go down to number 5, and I could use Jack Sparrow as an example for number 5 too. We all know who Jack Sparrow is, right? He's Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp character, you know. But a brigand is a bandit, a robber, a thief, all right? Kind of outlaw, all right? And I want to skip down to commandeer. You remember in the first Pirates of the Caribbean, he and Will Turner, they steal this small boat, I think a schooner or something like that. They steal the small boat and they're racing along, and then this huge boat uh, comes alongside of them, and all the men swing over onto it, and they catch it and everything, and then uh, Jack Sparrow and Will Turner swing over onto the big ship, and that's the that big ship was the one they actually wanted to commandeer. All right, now um, it, to get specific about the word, if something, a vehicle mode of transportation is commandeered, it's usually supposed to be used for official business. You know, when a policeman in our cop shows jumps into the car and drives off, jumps into somebody else's car, or takes somebody's motorcycle in a high-speed chase, you know, they commandeer it. Okay, it's supposed to be for official use. Um, I guess Johnny Depp or yeah, his character Jack Sparrow was using it for official pirating business. Anyway, number 6 is cumbersome. Cumbersome is an adjective. And I had a lot of cause to use that word this summer. Moving uh, uh, my kids here and there, and sometimes doing home repair stuff. Sometimes the things that you have to carry are so oddly shaped that they become cumbersome and cause there's just a clumsiness in moving it because it's oddly shaped. So if something is hard to maneuver, it could be cumbersome, um, and you know causes you to even drop it and or walk in a clumsy fashion just because it's so weird shaped. That it's cumbersome. Okay. Number 7 is deadlock. Deadlock is a noun, or it could be a verb. All right. You uh, and that is like a standstill. You cannot move any further. Um, if this happens it could happen on a jury where they are deadlocked in a voting situation, or in politics if they're voting on a measure and they're deadlocked. That means they're tied and nobody's moving. In fact, um, uh, people are so what was the word um, opinionated that they're not going to move. They're at a deadlock. Okay, skip down to number 13. Opinionated is, excuse me, an adjective. And even though it has an ed ending, which would make us think, oh, shouldn't that be a verb, Hollenbeck? Um, this is actually uh, a participle. Participles look like verbs but act like adjectives. All right, their function is different from their appearance. Okay, an opinionated person has strong beliefs in something, and they're stubborn in those beliefs. They're not willing to budge, and that could cause then number 7 a deadlock in certain situations. Okay, go back up to 8. Debris. That's a fancy word for trash, litter. All right. And moving on to diffuse and diffuse. See, they give you two pronunciations. It's pronounced differently when it's used as an adjective, as opposed to its normal use as a verb. Now, you may have used this or may have heard it used as a verb, but I very much doubt that you've heard it used as an adjective. All right, so let's talk about them. Diffuse is it's like scattering, disseminating. information, just or spreading out. It could be information. It could be papers. It could be anything. It could be um, oh, it could be something dangerous like um, when the oh earlier in the summer I was reading newspaper articles about military branch sending or shipping live anthrax because they were I don't know what they were doing. Maybe it was, I can't remember that story, but it was live anthrax was being shipped. Well, you should be doing that because then you open it, it diffuses. All right, that's something that gets into the air and it just scatters, and that's one of the things that makes it so lethal. Okay, and so the adjective form um, is diffuse, not diffuse, diffuse. If a speaker is diffuse, they ramble on. They don't. They are not terse. They ramble on, and they take a lot of different routes to get to one point. All right. Maybe give a lot of side stories before getting to the point. You might be sitting there going, okay, get to the point. All right. The main gist is give us the kernel of truth, and they're going all different directions. That's diffuse. All right. I might get a little, I might be described as diffuse in some of these videos if I get on a tangent. All right. Number 10, dilemma. You've used this word. It's a noun, and it's just a situation where there might not be a good solution, but you have to take the lesser of two evils. A dilemma could also be a good thing. All right. You have two really good choices. You don't know which one to take. All right. That's a dilemma. Number 11 is a verb, efface. And this means to totally wipe out. Uh, an unfortunate example is what Hitler tried to do to the Jewish culture. He tried to efface it, wipe it out, so there was no trace. Okay. Muddle can be a verb or a noun, and they're closely related. Um, if you muddle things, kind of make a mess. Okay. Um, I have so frequently this happens. I'll clean off um, the dining room table, and then um, it gets muddled. We muddle it up during the week. We just kind of put everything on the table, okay, and it becomes a muddle, a mess. Okay, it's like we combine words puddle and mess. It's a muddle. Okay. Um, I did opinionated. Perennial. Your folks may talk about perennials when referring to gardening. A perennial can be an adjective or a noun, adjective or a noun. And what it does, perennial is something that will come back the next year. Like I planted a clematis and some roses. Those are perennials. They'll bloom um, in spring and summer again, even though I planted them once. Okay? So you could describe a plant as a perennial, or you could define it, classify it as a perennial. All right? Number 15, predispose. Predispose is um, uh, Well, pose is like the root word, and it means a stance or a condition. Pre means before. So you were in this position before the something even happened to you. For instance, if you have a low uh, oh kind of weakened immune system, you are predisposed to catching a cold. Okay, and so you're already in that position or that condition. All right, and so that's kind of what predisposed means. Now, if you have a certain a belief or opinion on something, you are predisposed then to vote a certain way because you already hold that belief. All right? Relinquish. Relinquish is a verb, and uh, it means to give up. All right? Um, uh, Usually legal rights. Um, if let's see, you oh, okay. So, I was adopted. My siblings and I were all adopted as babies. Our natural mothers relinquished their rights as parents. All right, and so they gave up any claim to my sister and my brothers, um, raising them or having them as their children. All right. Salvage. Salvage can be a noun or a verb. All right. And they're closely related. Another news story I read this summer, pretty recently actually, was a major um, find in the ocean of a pirate ship at the. I should have connected this with Jack Sparrow at the bottom. Not bottom, but in a at the ocean floor, they found a wreckage, and they were able to salvage or save um, over $1 million worth of rare coins, uh, antique weapons, this sort of thing. All right, and so the salvage is the saved stuff. To salvage it is to save it. Okay. Um, Spasmodic, that's just the adjective form of spasm. Okay, if you get a sudden chill in you, oh, that's kind of like a spasm. Spasmodic is if something is spasmodic, it is irregular, kind of uh, jerky. All right, um, it's an adjective. Number 19, spurious. This might be the newest word to you. Spurious is an adjective, and a person might make spurious claims to own something that is really not theirs. All right. The con men are noted for making spurious claims to own something. Oh, that's another news story. That was really recent. Like just a couple of days ago, I read, or weeks ago, I read about a Texas couple who uh, sold millions of dollars worth of alfalfa hay to Texas farmers who they're not their hay or whatever was ruined because of rain or they didn't get enough hay, so they need it, and so they bought, I mean, millions of dollars. Well, these people didn't have the alfalfa hay. They made spurious claims of having alfalfa hay, and so they took those millions of dollars and bought a yacht and took their kids with them, and um, the first time they took a boat, the Coast Guard had to rescue them, but they didn't know who they were, and so then they they went that they bought a bigger boat, and one that they, I guess, could handle and was not so, you know, uh, uh, susceptible to the waves and, being crashed on the waves or whatever. Anyway, they went to the Bahamas and they were caught there. Some tourists recognized who they were. Number 20, unbridled. Well, if you could get a mental picture of this, this is easy to see. Take a bridle out of a horse's mouth, all right, and they're free. They're running free. They have no restraints on them. Nobody controlling them. So, unbridled means without restraint, no holding back. Toddlers have unbridled joy. They don't they don't care. They're not going to conform to society's norms. They don't care if somebody's going to think they're weird. They're just going to hop around and do their thing. They have unbridled joy. All right, and it doesn't have restraints. Okay, so anyway, that's it. I hope this helps you. Make sure that you try every one, but then if you have a question on one of them, put a star by it and ask me, all right? But I really want you to give it a try, okay? But if you're not sure, put a star by it and I'll help you with it, okay? Hey, we'll see you on Monday.